The old Presbyterian Manse in Freechurch Street is owned by the Catholic Education Office. Early last month, Maitland City Council approved an application to demolish the building to make way for playground extensions. The Heritage Council responded by placing a temporary preservation order on the Manse. This expired today. However, the Minister for Planning and the Environment, Bob Carr, yesterday signed and gazetted a 2-year interim order. This prevents any demolition work from taking place. The building also cannot be altered without the approval of the Heritage Council. Over the next 2 years, the Heritage Council will assess the building's significance with a view to either lifting the order or making it permanent. The Heritage Council says it will also seek further discussions with the Catholic Education Office to discuss ways of using the Manse for school purposes.
Workers, members of the Meat Industry Employees Union, met outside the abattoir to discuss the sackings. The issue flared on March 26 this year when 43 members of the mutton slaughtering section were dismissed for misconduct and refusal of duty. An incident involving a foreman in the section led to a further dispute. Allegations were made that drugs and alcohol were consumed by workers, seriously affecting production. The abattoir management also stated the mutton chain was the source of a large number of stoppages and excessive meetings. The issue has been before arbitration, with Justice Mackin of the Industrial Commission refusing to order the reinstatement of the sacked workers. Max Coulson from the Meat Industry Employees Union says the meat workers have supported their sacked colleagues and the fight for their reinstatement will continue.
All workers of Maitland today have decided again to support the 43 workers who were dismissed. They see the position as being untenable. They were put in a position yesterday by the company that they were to forget their fellow workers, that is the 43, and if necessary on Monday they were to work with outside labour.
Meantime, Secretary of the Newcastle Trades Hall Council, Peter Barrick, says he'll call on other unions to support the meat workers.
What we'd be seeking is to raise financial contributions to assist the carriage of the dispute. We'd also be going to unions that may have an indirect association with the process here, and we'd be seeking their support. For example, it's an export market. We'd be going to the Waterside Workers Federation, Seamen's Union and so on to ensure that we get their support.
A common fear of the elderly and others living alone is that should something life-threatening happen to them, no one will know in time to help. The Home Emergency Life Protector, or Help Alarm as it's known, has been designed to give such people the confidence to stay in their homes rather than move unnecessarily into nursing homes and hostels. Distributor of the alarm for the Newcastle and Northern New South Wales region, Brian Smith, says that there are others who could benefit from this type of alarm.
That was the original need. Other people, such as wives of shift workers, young mums with a family. If an intruder comes into a young mum's home, she's the most at-risk person in the community. They can have a manualised unit, which they just press the button and instantly let everyone know that they're in trouble.
It's activated by sudden body movements such as an epileptic fit or a fall. A siren and red light installed on the front of an owner's property alerts neighbours that there's trouble and assistance is needed. The alarm is another safety method which relies on neighbours to care and look after each other, as Mr Smith explains.
Exactly. It's not part of the neighbourhood watch, but the same principle. The neighbourhood cares for the neighbourhood, and it does generate, and it's designed to generate, a more caring and better place to live in.
Okay, thanks.
A spellbound audience attended the opening performance of The Sleeping Beauty, the Newcastle Marionette Theatre's first production in 3 years. The play is dramatically acted out by a team of marionettes controlled by 7 puppeteers. From fragile fairy godmothers to pompous courtiers and their archenemy, the evil Caravan, the marionettes have been skillfully characterised. Elaborate costumes by Jan Stewart sets designed by James Bennett and the music of Tchaikovsky all contribute to the beauty of this version of the classic children's tale. The Sleeping Beauty is the brainchild of producer-director Bruce Rowland, who explains the play's appeal.
We find that the young children enjoy it, plus the adults that come with it, they probably enjoy it more than what the children do.
Now, you're not only the producer-director, but you also built the puppets. Yes. Now, you must feel a very special affection towards them.
Oh, yes. I've been working on them for about 12 months now, and some of them are more affection than others. I have my favourite characters in the show.
So what can you promise your audiences?
1.5 hours of entertainment, satisfying entertainment.
Children and adults can see the dreadful Caraboss and the rest of the cast of The Sleeping Beauty at the Young People's Theatre at Hamilton for twice daily performances until this Saturday.
Didn't like taking them.
Father Gore was here at the invitation of the Newcastle Businessmen's Club to address its weekly meeting at Tats. He told the bunch the people of the Philippines have a long struggle ahead of them to establish a stable political system and feed the poor. Father Gore said Australia must bear some responsibility for bringing that country to the position it found itself in under Marcos by providing financial and military aid, but at the same time not speaking out against the oppression.
We have to set up a whole new relationship with the new government, not like we had under Marcos, in which we remained very quiet in when the situation got so bad. So I think two things. Immediately we've got to help them so that they can feed their own people, and then in long terms we have to be able to have better relationship between them and themselves, and a relationship of equals.
Well, no doubt the political situation at the moment is pretty unstable in view of what's happened, and you're going back soon. What do you think you'll find when you get there?
Well, I think what I'll see is that a tremendous poverty, worse than what I experienced before. I want to see that for myself and sort of evaluate that, and sort of when I come back to Australia I can say to people here, and I can say to the government, look, you've got to do something. And I think if I have that first hand, if you like, experience, and I can talk to the ordinary people and see how they feel, are they hopeful for better? If they're not hopeful, then it's going to be dangerous.
Council approved the initial application for a 185-site caravan park, camping areas and amenities. However, when the development became known to the residents, a concerted protest was organised. More than 500 people signed a petition opposing the development, and Sydney solicitor Lee Virtue agreed to handle the case for the residents at no cost. In one hearing, the court was told the proposed park would strain existing facilities at the small fishing village, as well as destroying its character and threatening a nearby rainforest. And today, the court's chief judge, Mr Justice Cripps, ruled the application by Sydney firm Parkland Planning defective. He said they had failed to get the approval of the Crown as owner of the proposed site. This was necessary even though the Great Lakes Shire Council was trustee of the land. He also ruled that the council, which granted development consent for the park in 1984, failed to properly consider the effect of associated sewerage works on the environment. It's not known at this stage whether Parkland Planning will submit a new application for the development.
I think what we've got to do now, Janelle, is to recognise simply that the single solution approach that we'd been hoping before would become effective, namely the operation of the devaluation to close that current account deficit, simply isn't going to work. What we have to do now is to recognise that. We have to start a much more minute investigation of the whole composition and structure of the current account in order to determine where the particular problems lie, and then we have to put together a package of policies rather than a single solution in order to address those problems and hopefully resolve them. to do.
Mr Brown says these areas include wage discounting and variations in tax, while keeping in mind the government's promise to reduce personal income tax. He says we must bolster our services as well as manufacturing industries because invisibles rather than commodities take the lion's share of money out of Australia. Mr Brown believes that if Mr Keating maintains his single policy,
I believe that
the
there are some
deficit won't be
alternatives that we
reduced.
need to examine.
Are you and Mr Keating at loggerheads over finding solutions for this problem?
Oh no, not at all. In fact, Mr Keating and I find ourselves over the greater proportion of these issues certainly in considerable agreement. There wouldn't be any significant disagreement between the Treasurer and myself, except perhaps in matters of detail. I understand the Treasurer's approach. I believe that there are some alternatives that we need to examine at the present time.
.189 girls and boys paraded before the judges throughout this week in the Junior Model Quest sponsored by John's Stores. The judges said they were looking for a child with confidence and personality, displayed through an open face and an appealing manner on the catwalk. The finalists in the junior section ranged in age from 5 to 10 years old, and sometimes it was only the ribbon in their hair or that embarrassing debut that reminded onlookers these were indeed children. 6-year-old Timmy Bright from Belmont seemed to wonder what was really going on, but for a very poised 8-year-old Nadine Casula, the winner of this section, it was an opportunity to follow in her sister's footsteps.
Nadine, how come you entered the quest?
Oh, well, my mum put me in it, so...
Did you have to learn how to walk on the catwalk?
Yes, my sister's a model, so she taught me how to walk.
And are you going to be a model too?
Yes.
Every winter Sunday, blue marlins such as these brave the conditions, rain, hail or shine, and swim the salt waters of the Nelson Bay Public Pool. Situated adjacent to the harbour, the 40-year-old pool is to be demolished to allow for the Port Stephen Shire Council's foreshore development. It will be replaced by a car park, and today's swim was the last for the club. To mark the occasion, a generous donation of $2,000 was given to the Hunter Valley Rescue helicopter appeal by Marlin President Terry O'Brien. Over the past 12 years, the club has raised more than $14,000 for charity. The Blue Marlins will now fly their flag at a nearby venue. But do members like 72-year-old Bill Knott feel that it's just another case of fish out of water?
Well, to a degree, but we've made up our minds that the club is still going to function. It will be a little bit awkward on the low tide where we're going to swim, but it means that everyone has to get into the water every Sunday.
It's a men's-only swimming club, which seems unusual in this day and age of equality, until I asked why.
We appreciate our women folk, and they can come down and view the swimming, but the conditions were that if they did join, they would have to swim topless, and they sort of objected a little strongly to that.
So there were no takers?
No takers, as it no. I don't know whether that's good or bad, but still and all, we haven't got any takers.
Cut a tiny pinder elbow.
A tiny pinder elbow?
That's right.
And that's the first time that your nose has been put out of shape, I believe, playing this game?
It's the first time, yeah, hopefully the last time.
What's going to happen Friday night? Are you going to be fit and well to go then, or what?
Well, we're going to go to the doctor tomorrow. I think I'm going to snap it back into place, so we'll know better tomorrow or Wednesday where we stand.
Obviously, you'd be keen to play now that the side has its first win under its belt.
Yeah, I think we're all looking forward to playing games from now on. Now we're coming together a little better and playing a little better ball, so I hope to be out there.
Yeah. They tell me the win was a good win, that the team really showed its full potential the other night.
I think it's the first time we've all played together as well, and we played a lot of better team defense, and I think everybody enjoyed playing a little better.
Sure. How are you enjoying your stay in Newcastle, other than the broken nose?
Other than broken nose, it's been great. This is the first bad adventure I've had.
passing security guard noticed smoke coming from the rear of the building. The fire had been lit on the back stairs and firemen quickly contained it to the accommodation section. The ground floor bar suffered smoke and water damage. Manager of the hotel, Don Graham, says he believes the fire was deliberately lit. The damage bill will approach $100,000.
Have you any ideas as to why it was deliberately lit?
Well, I have my own personal opinions, but I think it could revolve around the last 5 weeks that I've been in this hotel here, about 18 hours a day, 20 hours a day, and I've conducted the general cleaning up of the hotel. And I think with some of the undesirable characters which were rejected from the hotel, I think that they all will be looked at, yes.
And now will this affect your trading today?
No, we'll be trading as normal today. We hope to open it on time.
At Adamstown Heights, a 59-year-old man suffered a heart attack while driving through the intersection of the Pacific Highway and Highfields Road. Onlookers say the car sideswiped a telecom van before hitting another car and plunging over an embankment onto Ellerslie Road. Ambulance drivers attending the scene say Arthur McQueen of Highfields died at the wheel of the car before it hit the road below. Continued efforts by ambulance officers to revive Mr McQueen failed.
Since its inception 4 years ago, the Commonwealth Bank Cycle Classic has not only become the largest amateur event in the world, but has also shown that the right sort of cycling event is a winner with the Australian public and overseas riders. Each year, the top cycling nations in the world send their best teams to compete against many of our best in this gruelling race down the East Coast. This year, the organisers have made several changes to the format. It's now 3 days longer, goes to Canberra instead of Sydney, and for local enthusiasts, it now bypasses Newcastle and goes through Maitland and Toronto.
We're very impressed the way that Maitland put up their sponsorship and also the promotion of the Steamfest here, which was of course sponsored by Caldex and who are one of our sponsors. And we're impressed the way the committee handled everything, and we really think that we've got something to offer Maitland, and Maitland can in turn do something for us.
The event starts in mid-October with 75 cyclists already entered. It is one of our real success stories on the international scene, and this year is rated in the top 16 of all cycle races held around the world. The organisers have an added bonus this time.
We're very pleased to see that Remy Le Goff, a Frenchman, who is the commissaire, the chief man in cycling, and who controls the Tour de France, will be coming out this year to control the Commonwealth Bank Cycle Classic.
It was at the newly extended council offices that dozens of people gathered to welcome local government minister Janice Crozier. Mrs Crozier launched proceedings by presenting a cheque for $1,500 to Shire President John Musgrave for the restoration of the original council chambers, which are classified by the Heritage Council. Inside, Mrs Crozier unveiled the plaque commemorating not only the new office extensions, but the new water supply augmentation scheme, the town sewage system, which has been operating since 1982, and the new Wissensett Bridge. The office extensions, which cost $70,000, involve new offices for the Shire President, Shire Clerk and Shire Engineer, and the relocation of the public library to the council chambers. Even more important to Murrurundi is the water supply augmentation scheme, which cost $1.35 million.
It's taken the council more than 30 years to decide on a water supply program. After many plans and much argument, the council finally decided on a scheme that would guarantee the water supply until at least the year 2000.
The scheme centres on this 180 megalitre dam, which is gravity fed by a siphon pipe from the nearby Pages River. The water is treated in the dam and then pumped to holding tanks which supply the town. The new Wissamset Bridge will also make life easier for locals. Located on the road connecting the nearby towns of Timor and Gundy, the bridge cost $450,000 and was open to traffic at Easter. It replaces the wooden structure that was burnt down in 1980. Since then, motorists were forced to use a low-level bypass bridge, which was frequently flooded. The new Wissamset Bridge guarantees all-weather access for the remote towns.
All right, ready, set, go.
The 180 kinder to Year 6 students each made a silver coin donation to participate in the run. And as an added incentive for when the going got tough, the teachers had promised to dip into their own pockets if the majority of the students completed 2 laps of the round the school course. School principal Charles Owen said it was the children who'd suggested the run, and at the end of it all, when they'd caught their breath, they had $50 to donate to the appeal.